Alright? So he divides the 8, then he takes the bowl, and there's a big story that how he tried to steal the Buddha's teeth. That's what you call me next time, tell me that story. The Buddha relic story. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Anyway, after all that, so expansion of Buddhism now, these relics now are the only things left of the Buddha. They represent the Buddha. So they are taken away by the 8 kings to 8 different places in India along here, around here. Alright? Then, that was after the cremation. Then Mahakasyapa goes back to Rajagaha. Yeah, this is in Kusinara, quite far away, about 300 kilometers away. And he tells the king here, sorry, Rajagaha disappeared. Okay, the king there is King Ajatasattu. He's the one who killed his father, King Bimbisara. Alright? Anyway, he is now a follower of the Buddha. He organizes 500 of the most senior monks, 3 months after the Buddha passed away. 500 of the most senior monks, including Venerable Ananda, Venerable Upali, Venerable Kassapa, Venerable Anuruddha. These were all the monks who had been very closely associated with the Buddha. They all assembled, and Venerable Kassapa said, now recite everything you heard that the Buddha spoke. And we will now recite, and we will say, yes, this is what the Buddha said. Within 3 months, that means it was very, very fresh. Okay? And in that time, Venerable Ananda was now he was alive, he was the same age as the Buddha. Alright? Now Venerable Ananda was the Buddha's attendant for 25 years. Buddha taught for 45 years. Alright? But for 25 years, he was the Buddha's personal attendant. But when he became the attendant, he gave the Buddha one condition. The condition was that he will organize all the Buddha's timetable. He'll be a secretary, nobody else but Buddha said okay. Then he said, Buddha cannot give him the robe that people give to the Buddha cannot pass to him. He was so humble. He was the Buddha's cousin, by the way. They are born on the same day as the Buddha, Buddha's cousin. So that was one. Then he told the Buddha, whatever Dhamma talk you give, if I am not present, you must repeat to me. And the Buddha agreed. So for 45 years, whatever the Buddha had told anybody, he repeated to Ananda, and Ananda had a fantastic brain. He remembered everything that the Buddha had told him. It is said 84,000 units of instruction. Right? And we have done a computer check in Thailand. It's a modern thing. The Tripitaka, the collection of the books that the Buddha that they recited there, runs into 209 million words. The largest scripture of any religion. No big deal. Nobody reads it, so what's the point? But that is how much the Buddha and how much Ananda remembered. Okay, now first, it's tied up with expansion. Yeah? So, Venerable Ananda recites the first set. It is called the Sutra Pitaka. Pitaka is our Malay word pustaka, meaning book. But we always translate it as basket. Right? It wasn't a basket. They never wrote down, yeah? They never wrote down for 500 years. They only recited. Right? But never recited alone. Must always be recited in a group. Why? If somebody makes a mistake, the others pull it back. Okay? Now, anyway. So, Venerable Ananda recites the Sutra Pitaka. Then comes the second one, which is called the Vinaya. The Vinaya Pitaka was recited by a low caste. Ananda was a Shakya, same caste as the Buddha, Kshatriya. But Upali was a barber. And we are very proud of that because the Buddha did not see any caste. He said, Upali, you have the intelligence, you remember all the Vinaya rules. 227 rules were recited by Upali. Then, this is actually the basic two. But out of this Sutra Pitaka, they took out all the psychology part. Alright? Very difficult how the mind operates, and they call it the higher teaching. Abhidhamma. Actually, this is contained here. This is the same. But what they did was they pulled it out. And it didn't happen at this time. At this time, only this happened. This comes later. But the three together become the three Pitaka. Now, back to expansion of Buddhism. When the Venerable Ananda Venerable Upali was reciting the 227 rules, the rules plus why the Buddha set the rules in order. Okay, some rules were pretty silly. All right. Let me give you an example. The monks have to wear robes. All right. Originally, the robe was simply a piece of cloth. Just a piece of cloth. Usually what they do is they go to the cemetery, and in those days they don't bury, they don't burn. When somebody dies, they wrap in white cloth and they just leave in the cemetery for animals to eat the flesh. Then after some time the body rots, the cloth also rots. These ascetics go and pick up these pieces of cloth, sew it together. Okay? And it's all different colors. So what they do is they boil it with the root of a tree. In Sri Lanka is the root of the Nangka tree. Mango tree also can. Alright? So when you boil it, it becomes this color or yellow color. It was a purely practical reason. Today we say, why? See that one, the ghost get frightened lah, or kind of rubbish. Okay, anyway. So now, on the other hand, there were monks who got a complete piece of cloth like a sari. But if you think you have problems putting your clothes out to dry with Indonesians walking around, the Indians were no different. The poor monks, they have one robe. They wash the robe and we put it out to dry, and then because they can't go out, they got only one robe, they hide inside. When they come out, the thing's stolen. They went and complained to the Buddha what to do. Now, you see, Vinaya rules came out. The Buddha looked out and he said, okay, what can I do? The cloth is valuable because it's one piece. So he said, if you cut it up and sew it back in the shape of a paddy field. The Buddha looked, he saw a paddy field. Alright? Then the idea came to him, why not? So he said, okay, from now on, cut up the cloth that you received, sew it back to represent a paddy field, number one. Number two, yellow cloth, you dye, all becomes one color. It's the cheapest available dye at the moment. That was the only reason why. Okay, anyway, so I think I have to tell you, but those of you under 17 legal. See, there was this monk, he was having an affair, and when the people in the village found out, they all started going to the house and started banging at the door. He got so frightened, he ran out, grabbed whatever cloth he could find. Alright? In the morning, they found he was wearing his girlfriend's blue sari. Bro. So they all said, you're wearing that. Why are you wearing that? No lah, I just formed a new religion. It's called the blue sari religion. Okay? You think Buddhist talks are but no exception. So where am I? Come back. So that was one. Now, because there were rules like this that were put in place, and another one, One day the monks were given, you know this, when we go to the bathroom we use those wooden